tonight is Tuesday, May 2nd, 2017. I'd like to call the Fitchburg City Council to order. Councilor Caddy, would you please lead us in the salute to the flag? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Madam Clerk, could you please conduct the roll call?
President Kushmerek.
Present.
Councilor Bean. Councilor Boschman.
Here.
Councilor Beazall.
Present.
Councilor Clark.
Here.
Councilor Di Natale.
Here.
Councilor Donnelly.
Here.
Councilor Green. Here. Councilor Joseph. Councilor Caddy.
Here.
Councilor Tran.
Here.
Public forum. Anyone wishing to speak on any matter on the agenda may do so for not more than 2 minutes. If you're addressing public hearing petitions, you'll have an opportunity to speak at that time. Please approach the center table and identify yourself by name and address for the record and the item number on the agenda which you're addressing. Does anyone wish to speak at this time? Mr. Jokela, good evening.
Good evening, councilors. I come to you before you tonight for 89-017 in regards for an appropriation for $280,000. Those funds will be targeted towards replacement of the Memorial Auditorium seating here, which is original, so that's 50-year-old seatings that will be replaced, and also a retaining wall on the west building at South Street Elementary School, which we have gone out to bid for, and our contractors are lined up. And once this vote goes forward, we can move forward with the project after school ends on June 23rd. So, thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak at this time? Hearing none, if there are no objections, we'll now hear an oral report from the Appointments Committee.
Appointments Committee met tonight. We have 2 appointments before us, 2 new appointments. One was City Auditor Calvin D. Brooks to fill the term of Auditor Richard Saracen, who recently retired. Term expired May 3rd, 2020. That was approved unanimously by the committee. And also Ms. Ann Cervantes for the City Treasurer Tax Collector to assume the position being vacated by the City Auditor. And that was approved by the committee unanimously.
Second.
I have a motion and second to approve the Appointments Committee report. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is unanimous. I'd like to congratulate Calvin Brooks, who's here with us. And I'd also like to congratulate Ms. Ann Cervantes. Thank you both for your current and future service to this city. Other communication, report from the Committee on Records. Councilor Donnelly.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have reviewed the records and they appear to be in order. Move the Committee on Records report be accepted.
I have a motion and second to accept the report from the Committee on Records. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It is unanimous. Communications, other, Pension Reserves Investment Management Board. Councilors, you received that in your packet. Be placed on file in the City Clerk's office. And councilors, this evening we have 10417. It's an annual report from the Fitchburg Police Department for the year 2016. This evening we have Chief Martineau and Ms. Andrews. Good evening. Chief, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, councilors. It gives me a great pleasure to come to you tonight and present our 2016 annual report. I brought with me tonight Chrissy Fisher, who is the author of this year's, every year, the past several years, author of this report. She does such an exceptional job. I thought it was important for her to come here this evening because the work she put into this. There's just a couple things I'd like to highlight. We were very excited when we saw where the numbers were coming in from last year. Some of the highlights of this report, this is a 42-page report. I gave all the councilors hard copies of this, but some of the things that really jumped off the pages when we started reviewing our end-of-the-year report was that overall Part 1 crime in the city of Fitchburg decreased last year from that to 17% reduction last year. It's down 23% on a 5-year average. So Part 1 crimes in the city of Fitchburg have been reduced 23% in a 5-year average. More astonishingly, last year was one of our record years for calls to service. Fitchburg Police Department responded to 59,137 calls last year in 2016. Last year, we saw the lowest number of reported burglaries within the city of Fitchburg. We had 190 burglaries. That's the lowest it's been in 11 years. Total violent crime in the city, one of the Part 1 crimes where it's broken down into violent property. Violent crime in the city, it decreased 8%. It's down an additional 2% on a 5-year average. When you look at our numbers across the board, we had reductions across the board in just about every category within the city. I think that's quite astonishing, given the fact that we responded to almost 60,000 calls for service last year, 78 police officers, and to have that type of reduction is outstanding. One of the statistics that jumped off the paper at me that may not be as obvious to some folks that don't understand crime statistics was the amount of arrests made in the city of Fitchburg. For the first time, and I went back 25 years, it was the first time we've ever been below 1,000 arrests in the city of Fitchburg. And I asked myself, what's the reason for this reduction in arrests? Are we just not, obviously we're going to 60,000 calls a year for service. Then we started thinking about it, and we have a considerable effort into training our police officers. And with this reduction in arrests, it leads me to believe that the training that providing all police officers in the city, whether it's on fair and impartial policing, de-escalation techniques, we're looking for other alternatives than just putting handcuffs on people. We're looking for other alternatives instead of arresting our way out of issues. We're talking to people. And I firmly believe that's the reason for the reduction in the arrest numbers. There's some other interesting information in this report. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions this evening. If you have any questions, you want to call me in my office or stop by my office, I'll answer whatever questions I can. I was so pleased with this. I mean, Fitchburg truly is a safe community. That these numbers speak for themselves. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We still have issues. We're still fighting the opiate issue head on. You can see the work in this report what our drug suppression unit's doing. We're still very active when it comes to traffic investigations. There's a lot of good information in this report. And like I said, I'm more than happy to answer any counselor's personal questions. If it relates to your award, whatever I can do to clarify this report, I'd be more than happy to.
Chief, you mentioned a statistic at the very beginning, talking about your 5-year crime rate. Can you say that number one more time?
Sure. Overall, the UCR Part 1 crimes decreased 17% from the previous year. However, on a 5-year average, we're at 23% reduction in Part 1 crimes in the city of Fitchburg.
Chief, that's amazing. That's nothing short of spectacular. And I think you
truly
deserve
is
a round
amazing.
of applause for that.
Especially when you look at the amount of calls that we respond to. And that's 60,000 calls a year for service. And to have this type of reduction is nothing but short of astounding.
Well, Chief, I think that's a credit to you and your department's hard work. And, you and I spoke about it before, about, you're reaching that critical mass. And I think you're certainly getting momentum. And I think you're building the relationships within the community and with other agencies. And I think that all of that hard work and relationship building is really paying off. So Thank you for all of your efforts.
I'd like to just reiterate one last thing, and I said it once about the number of arrests we had. I mean, it's nice to see reductions in violent crime, property crime, but when Fitchburg police officers are not arresting people as much as we used to, it speaks volumes that we're training our police officers to do something differently, to look for other alternatives in making our community safe. So, thank you.
Chief, thank you. Christy, wonderful job with this report.
Thank you.
Councilor Di Natale.
Is there going to be an effort made to market this? Because we have a very poor perception both within and without. And this is big news. And I hope the Sentinel, I know they're here, this is top headline news tomorrow because God forbid we get any good news in this city. This is pretty good news. And I would like to know if this is going to be made available on the internet that we could link to so the residents can read the report and spread this as much as we can so people don't think that this is what people say it is. It really isn't.
No, I've had direct conversations with the Sentinel, with Mr. Clark. Tomorrow, I'm meeting with a reporter, Elizabeth, that's coming to the police station tomorrow. We post this. I mean, we're as transparent as you can get. We post this on our webpage for the past couple of years.
Is it up now?
The 2015 is up now.
Yeah.
This one will be up next week.
Okay.
I just wanted to.
I didn't want to release any information out of respect to the council. I wanted you to be the first to see it.
No, that's fine.
I'd hate to have you read it in the paper then see it second.
I just want to make sure that we get this out to the public so they can read this and see that there's some really good progress going on in
I was
in
told
these
by
statistics.
Mr. Clark that the Sentinel's planning on doing a large story
Good.
this Sunday on crime statistics. And if you read this report, it's not just about statistics. In the back, I've heard councilors mention in the past what type of grant opportunities we're going after. This explains all the grants that we go after each year. So there's a lot more in this article than it's just crime statistics. If you read the back of it, it explains all our community involvement we did last year. It's much more than just arresting people and writing citations. And you're going to see that in the back of this report where it's outlined on the training that we do, the community involvement that we're engaged with, and also the grants.
IAs and defense tactics. I mean, you can't get more transparent than that.
Well, I want to thank you and your staff for the dedication and the diligence they've shown, and their hard work is paying off, and the numbers attest to that fact. Thank you.
Councilor Joseph.
I just want to add thank you very much for what I'm doing. I think that working with the youth in Fitchburg is paid off tenfold. And it's been building. I see the officers that you have that work with the kids. They're down at the pool. They're out at the basketball courts. They're in with different kids in different situations here at the middle schools and stuff like that. To me, that's priceless. And when we say that I want to fund youth programs and things like that, and when I see the work that your officers do and your department does with the youth, to me, that's where it pays off, because they know who the players are, they know who the good guys are, they know who the bad guys are. The kids know it, so the kids know enough to not glorify the bad guys as much as they used to, because they have other people to look up to now. And I think that that's just so valuable for our community.
I think more importantly, we have a level of trust in this city that's second to none. The Fitchburg Police Department has that reputation that we have extreme trust within our community. So that's why we're seeing these results.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Councilor Donnelly.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chief, I'm impressed with all of the good things that are happening. I'm very impressed because what I see in neighborhoods when 90% of the people follow parking regulations the way they should, I think real estate is the way people judge the value of a city, the school system. But when you drive into the best neighborhoods, most everybody complies with the law. In poorer neighborhoods, people don't seem to comply. But I am impressed with the number of tickets that you give out, sidewalk violations, wrong way. Those are the things that everybody can see every time. Anytime you're going to rent an apartment, try to buy a house, drive through a neighborhood, judge a neighborhood, those are the things that people see. You either got a neat, organized, compliant city or disorganized, or an area that people just don't care about. And that's how I think that people within the city, within the neighborhood, and people coming out. Real estate, everybody that owns a home understands the value and desirability. The best cities have the most desirability, the highest prices, and I would say the most compliance. So I'm impressed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Caddy.
Chief, years ago, I remember we received grants to put on community police officers, and we hit the streets, I think, one year with 10 new officers on the streets. As much as I support that, what I always support and support now is the other night I saw a posting of 2 of your officers playing basketball with kids in the street. And there were a lot of positive comments about the post, but the important thing that I see you doing, that I hope you continue, is every police officer can be a community police officer. And I think very slowly we're starting to see that. And I think if that continues, I think that you've got these kids looking up to police officers and not drug dealers and criminals. So it's such a positive move for the police department. And I know it's going to continue because you're there.
Absolutely.
And thank you.
It's something that I and the entire command staff preach every day is positive engagements. What you saw on Facebook with those 2 police officers, Officer Friend and Officer Wallace, that's exactly what our command staff preaches each and every day. Go to the call, handle the call, but take an opportunity to have that type of interaction, and it will pay for itself tenfold down the road. So thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Thank you both again.
Thank you, councilors.
Finance Committee, we have two reports. Counselor Dean Sally.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance met on Tuesday, April 25th, but there was one item that we took up on April 11th that didn't go through the full council from the committee's report, and that's 5017. A.J. Torigny, Chief of Staff to the Mayor, to ratify and confirm the following attached documents pertaining to payment in lieu of taxes for Ashby 1 and Ashby 2 Solar Project and NCM Realty Trust. That was approved. And then we've got, on the 25th of April, a loan order for $2.5 million to replace approximately 12,300 feet of water main on various city streets. That was adopted and will require a roll call vote. And then we have the following orders: 8617 to take $47,322 against available funds for FY17 departmental personal services accounts. That was passed 3-1. 8717, $12,651 for FY17 personal services accounts for Water Enterprise Fund, Wastewater Fund, and Airport. That was passed 3-1. 8817, thereby and hereby is appropriated $35,000, same to be charged to against available funds and credited to IT equipment for the purposes of replacing the phone system at the fire department, which, per the testimony received at the committee, is over 20 years old. That was approved. 8917, to appropriate $280,000 to be charged against available funds and credited to the school department for capital improvements for the purposes of replacing Memorial Middle School auditorium seating and the South Street Elementary School retaining wall. That was adopted. And then 9117, to appropriate $25,000 from available funds and to appropriate it to Veterans Benefits General for the purpose of funding Chapter 115 benefits through the end of fiscal year 17. And $100 for expenses regarding veterans events for the purposes of Memorial Day wreaths and programs. That was adopted.
Second.
I have a motion and second to accept the Finance Committee report excluding 8517. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It is unanimous. 8517.
Second.
A motion and second to accept 8517 by roll call vote, first reading. Madam Clerk?
Counselor Caddy?
Yes.
Counselor Tran?
Yes.
President Kushmerek?
Yes.
Counselor Bean?
Yes.
Counselor Boishman?
Yes.
Counselor Beazle?
Yes.
Counselor Clark?
Yes.
Counselor Di Natale?
Yes.
Counselor Donnelly?
Yes.
Counselor Green?
Yes.
Counselor Joseph?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Legislative Affairs Committee oral report. Counselor Bean.
President, the Committee met tonight. Five items. First one is 014-17, Attorney Vincent Pusateri, City Solicitor, to approve the execution of a community host agreement with Mass Patient Foundation located at 99 Development Road. That was passed 3-1. 015-17, Attorney Vincent P. Pusateri, City Solicitor, to approve the execution of a community host agreement with the Cass Foundation located at 1 Oak Hill Road, Fitchburg, Mass. Again, that was passed 3-1. 016-17, Attorney Vincent Pusateri, City Solicitor, to approve the execution of a community host agreement with NSAGO Holdings Incorporated located at 20 Authority Drive, Fitchburg, Mass. That was approved 3-1. 017-17, Attorney Vincent Pusateri, City Solicitor, to approve the execution of a community host agreement with Compassionate Organics Incorporated, located at 25 Newport Street, Fitchburg, Mass. That was approved 3-1. And 081-17, to amend the code of the City of Fitchburg to promote efficiency and uniformity in the procurement process by making the changes outlined in the petition. That was held in committee.
Second.
I have a motion and second to accept the Legislative Affairs Committee report. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is unanimous. Planning Board meeting of April 11th, 2017, 07617, order of eminent domain, Summer Street, North Street Improvement Project, Summer Street, John Fitch Highway, Ray Avenue, Shelley Avenue, as outlined in the enclosed order. Councilors, we're just asking for you to accept this report.
Second.
I have a motion and second to accept the Planning Board report. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? It's unanimous. Motion carries. Public Works Committee report. Councilor Caddy.
Public Works Committee met April 25th at 5 o'clock. The first petition, 28916, Council Paul Boishman, to request that the utility companies installing a second utility pole in the same location that have not moved the original pole be charged $300 per month until such time the original pole is removed. That was given leave to withdraw. 4617, Councilor Joel Caddy to investigate the possibility to install barriers at Westminster Hill Road and Sanborn Street protecting the canyons. That was granted. 8317, Councilor Joel Caddy to remove trees and stumps blocking the sidewalks on Franklin Road near Rheingold School. That was granted. 10317, Councilor Dean Tran to install a catch basin at 86 Tibbet Circle to address the water buildup. That was granted. And 7617, order of eminent domain, Summer Street, North Street, improvement project, Summer Street, John Fitch Highway, Ray Ave, Shelley Ave, as outlined in the enclosed order, be granted to a public hearing on May 16th.
Second.
I have a motion and second to accept the Public Works Committee report and send 7617 to a public hearing on May 16, 2017. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It is unanimous.
Move 10517 to 10717 to send to finance. Second.
I have a motion and second to send 105 up to and including 10717 to finance. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. Orders other. 10817, order that a parcel of land located at on Phelps Street be sold under side yard sales program as outlined in the enclosed order. Reference petition 23515. 10917, order that two parcels of land located at 28 Walnut Street be sold under the side yard sales program as outlined in the enclosed order. Reference petitions 23517 and 23717. Councilors, this was already discussed and approved as part of the side yard sales committee. I have a motion for suspension of the rules on 108 and 10917. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Second.
I have a motion and second to adopt 108 and 10917. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It is unanimous. Ordinances. 11017, an ordinance that Chapter 35, Section 11 of the Code of the City of Fitchburg, as most recently amended, be further amended as follows. At the end of the first sentence, strike "but in no event more than 10,000" and replace with "but in no event more than 12,000." First reading.
Motion to send 11017 to its first reading.
Second.
I have a motion and second to send 11017 to its first reading. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It is unanimous. 11117, an ordinance that the Fitchburg zoning ordinance, Chapter 181 of the Fitchburg City Code, shall be amended in the following manner. Section 181.313 of the Fitchburg zoning ordinance, the table of principal use regulations shall be amended by adding the following section 181.313 C28 mobile food operations to the table as shown in the enclosed ordinance. Reference petition 3417, first reading. Council, this requires 8 votes to pass this evening. I have a motion and second to refer 11117 to its first reading. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. Nope, that passed unanimously.
Oops.
You're welcome. 11217, an ordinance, Section 15776 of the Fitchburg City Code entitled Definitions shall be amended in the following manner. By amending the definition of outdoor cafe in Section 15776 by adding to the end of the existing paragraph the words, "The definition of outdoor cafe does not apply to mobile food operations as defined in the City of Fitchburg zoning ordinance, Chapter 181.10 definitions." The amended section of the ordinance shall read as follows. See enclosed ordinance, reference petition 3417, first reading. I have a motion and second to send 11217 to its first reading. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. 11317, an ordinance. The City of Fitchburg hereby amends the city's general ordinances by adding a new section to the establish and authorize revolving funds for use by certain city departments, boards, committees, agencies, or officers under Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E, 1/2. As follows: department revolving funds as outlined in the enclosed ordinance, first reading. I have a motion and second to send 11317 to its first reading. Speaking to the motion, Counselor Joseph.
Has this been through legislative affairs or anything like that for a determination on?
Counselor, it actually has not, and we do have, this has to be passed before the start of the new fiscal year, but we certainly have that timetable to be able to send it to.
I mean, I know we have several places in the city that have revolving accounts, the athletic fund and different things, but I don't know. I just would like some more explanation as to whether this gives carte blanche to different people to have revolving accounts, and is that money that would be going into revolving accounts, money that would normally be going into general fund, and now is this going to take away from general fund? And I guess I just want to see what the intent of this is.
Counselor, I had a question. Should this instead be sent to Finance Committee, not Legislative Affairs?
It's whatever. As long as it's vetted, I don't care. I prefer finance because I'm on that.
There's a motion on the table.
We can still send it to first reading,
Okay,
but I'd like
sure.
it to be
You'd
sent
like
to
it referred also to Finance. Right. So I have a motion and second to send it to its first reading. Can that be amended to?
Amend to send it to Finance.
And amended to send to refer to Finance as well. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. Petitions 11417.
Move 11417 up to and including 12317 be sent to their respective committees.
Second.
I have a motion and second to send 11417 up to and including 12317 to their respective committees. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? It is unanimous. 03317, an ordinance amending Chapter 181-23 of the Code of City of Fitchburg, zoning map by changing certain parcels on Bemis Road from Industrial Zoning District to Central Business District, reference petition 221-2016. Councilors, the original petitioner is asking for this to be given leave to withdraw with the... I have a motion and second to give... Councilors, I apologize. I need a vote to take...
Take from the table.
Second.
I have a motion and second to remove 03317 from the table. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? It is before you.
Second.
Motion and second to give 03317 leave to withdraw. Speaking to the motion, Councilor Joseph.
Understand why this is up to a petitioner and not the city. I understand where the location is, and I know what's there now, but I just don't understand. Should the city be driving this, or should the petitioner be driving this? Was it the city that... I was under the understanding that the city put that petition forward and not a petition, an individual person. So,
Councilor, my understanding, it was initiated by an individual who brought it forth to the city, who then sponsored and pushed it forward. It was later determined that if this were to pass, it would have detrimental impact on at least that business, if not more, within that area. So that gave cause for further examination, and now both the petitioner and the administration seem to be in agreement that it would be
so the city is asking for this to be given leave to withdraw and not the petitioner.
Both entities. Both entities.
One of the thoughts was, if I may,
Please.
was that it should probably have always been an overlay district, because you've got this area down there in Bemis Road, which is very closely related to your industrial area. Maintains uses that are consistent with that, but also seems to start feeling more like a commercial area or a central business district part. So, you know, if we do revisit this in the future, and the mayor's office has been looking at that area to promote some economic development there, it may come back before you as an overlay, excuse me, and not just completely changing the zoning, because then we're creating other problems for previously existing uses that are there.
Okay, I didn't want, like I said, I want what's best for us and what's best for the owner, but I just want to make sure we're driving it. Thank you.
I have a motion and second to give the 03317 leave to withdraw. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. 09517, an ordinance amending Chapter 44, Section 10 of the Code of the City of Fitchburg, as most recently amended by adding thereto the following step assignments. Councilors,
9517 off the table.
I have a motion, and do I have a second?
Second.
To remove 9517 from the table. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It's before you.
A motion to amend 9517 to strike the city solicitor.
Second.
I have a motion and second to amend 09517 to strike city solicitor from the schedule. Councilors, this was emailed to you as well as there's a hard copy at your seats this evening. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? It is amended.
517 granted as amended. Second.
I have a motion and second to grant 09517 as amended. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. 09617, an ordinance amending Chapter 44, Section 10 of the Code of City of Fitchburg, is most recently amended by deleting city solicitor from the section under positions paid yearly as outlined in the enclosed ordinance.
Motion to take 9617 off the table.
Second.
Motion and second to remove 9617 from the table. All those in favor? All those opposed? It is before you.
Leave 9617 to give a leave to withdraw.
Second.
I have a motion and second to give leave to withdraw to 9617. Speaking to the motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? It is unanimous. Motion carries. 9717, an ordinance amending Chapter 44, Section 10 of the Code of City of Fitchburg, is most recently amended by adding thereto the following pay scale. Council requires 2/3 of those present.
Motion to take 9717 off the table.
Second.
Motion and second to take 9717 off the table. Speaking on the motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? It is unanimous. It is before you.
Motion to approve 9717.
Second.
Motion and second to approve 9717. Speaking on the motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? It is unanimous. Councilors, we have an executive session scheduled this evening to discuss the strategy with respect to labor negotiation. The city solicitor is asking for additional time to prepare for this executive session, and we're looking to bring this back on a subsequent agenda in the coming weeks.
Second.
I have a motion and second to adjourn. Speaking to the motion, Councilor Tran.
Just quickly on this, Mr. President, I would like to request either an oral or written assessment of the one-lane Main Street trial period, preferably a 6-month assessment when we reach the 6-month timeline. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Boschman.
Can we just speak about something before we adjourn, or do I have to wait for a minute?
Is it on the agenda?
No, it's not on the agenda, but I wanted to make an
Is
announcement.
it an announcement?
Table, seconded.
I have a motion and second.
You want to talk about something?
Yeah, I want to talk about something, not on the agenda, about something though. After we adjourn. Can I do that?
You can speak to councilors after we adjourn, as long as it's not a deliberative matter.
Oh, for God's sake. All right.
I have a motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It is unanimous. We adjourn. Thank you, councilors.